We have a men's health crisis. Men die younger, they get lots of chronic illnesses earlier than women, they suffer longer, they complain a lot longer, according to the women anyway. And there's some really simple strategies you can do. And one of those things is to just make some nuts a part of your daily regime. Nuts are a fantastic, nutritionally dense, great tasting, and if you have a combination of the different ones, you get lots and lots of the benefits. But there's a large body of evidence out there based on really good science on the benefits of nuts. In particular for men's health in general, for overall as well, but men's health in general. And I'm going to show you some of the specifics of it. But when you look at some of the details in there, you know that overall cancer rates are dropped. These are the risks and mortality from various cancers. The overall cancer rate drops by 10 to 20% by having one handful of nuts a day. Yes, make jokes about the handful of nuts. But at the end of the day, one handful of nuts, and they talk about in the studies, usually around about 28 to 30 grams of nuts per day. And I'll run through some of the evidence and the information for you because it's pretty exciting when you look at it. So 10 to 20% drop in overall cancer rates. Wow, that's pretty good. Isn't that? If that was a pharmaceutical, it'd be a miracle drug, but it's called nuts. So add that to your diet. And then you've got a reduction of prostate cancer, probably the least of the ones, or just about, by 8%. And you know, that one was a bit iffy, the studies showing that, but there is a very small drop in prostate cancer when you have nuts and peanut butter, which is obviously not peanuts aren't a nut, but they're combined in with all the studies. So we put them into, they're a legume. We saw a huge drop in colorectal cancer of 25. And here we're talking on meta-analysis where they bring 5 or 10 or 20 of the good studies and the best studies together. And so in the meta-analysis, it was a 25% drop in colorectal cancer, which is the second biggest cancer killer of men, which is, by the way, why it contributes to such a big drop over there. And then you've got gastric cancer, a big drop of 46%, including ulcers. Pancreatic cancer, 43%, and lung cancer down by 3%. You think, well, hold on, how can it have an impact? Because, as I'll show you a little bit later, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antioxidant, it's got a huge array of nutrients. But here we get onto some really specific men's types issue, okay? And the first one is erectile dysfunction. And overall, mixed nuts, a handful of mixed nuts, and that's, the studies usually go for about 8 to 24 weeks, something like that. But a handful of mixed nuts, some of them are shorter, a handful of mixed nuts literally lead to a reduction in erectile dysfunction and improvement of orgasm. That's interesting, isn't it? Then you've got tiger nuts, which show up repeatedly, and I don't even know what a tiger nut is, but you look it up, it's quite common in Asia, and pistachios show up. But probably most of the nuts are going to show much the same, but these were the three that I could find studies on specifically to do with erectile dysfunction. And the reason it works there is anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, but it also helps lower blood pressure. And blood pressure and erectile dysfunction go hand in hand. So lots of benefits in there. Testosterone. Over about 25, the testosterone levels go down, which contributes to erectile dysfunction and lots of other conditions. And at this stage, I'd really suggest you watch the video I have on reversing testosterone problems. And in that, I already talk about nuts being a substantial food in there. But there's a lot of things you can do, some herbs and nutrients you can add to reduce the problem of low testosterone, so improve your testosterone, and it can happen really, really quickly. So the low testosterone, tiger nuts again, walnut and hazelnuts show up in the study. So what's the combination here? First of all, get some tiger nuts and let me know what they are, and then or a combination of the different nuts for erectile dysfunction and testosterone. And then we show up and, okay, fertility and sperm. This is men's fertility and sperm. And we've found something like a 50% reduction of sperm quality over the last 50 years. And this is pretty scary. The major theory behind it is the exposure to toxic chemicals, which has an an inflammatory and an oxidant effect on the sperm. And the other one is the Western diet. So those two probably combine to this dramatic reduction in sperm quality and fertility in men. Often women will take the blame or the brunt and so on, but 50% of the time it's men, and it can be fixed or fixed quite easily in many situations. And nuts can make a part of that solution. And the studies show hazelnuts, cashews, and again, mixed nuts improve male fertility and improve semen sperm quality. The other more general benefits of nuts, not just for males, but for the whole population, include a reduction in all-cause mortality by about 27%. That is huge. Again, if there was any drug that came anywhere near that, it would be pasted all. If you get a drug that drops 1%, people go, wow, this is a miracle drug. Well, nuts are a miracle food because of the high nutrient density of them. Heart attacks by 15%, cardiovascular deaths by around about 25%. And these are when they bring the studies together in a meta-analysis and show the results. Decrease in diabetes and insulin resistance, a decrease in high blood pressure, hypertension, obesity and weight gain. So they lower the risk of obesity and weight gain. But hold on, they're full of calories. Yeah, that's why you need to watch my little video where I talk about the fact that calories, don't count calories, count the nutrients. And the nutrients will help you lose weight. So all of the studies overwhelmingly now show that eating nuts is actually part of a weight loss program. It lowers your risk of Alzheimer's, don't forget that, increase in bone health, a decrease in arthritis symptoms, a decrease in depression and anxiety, decrease in cognitive impairment, and an increase in mental function. So that's on your day-to-day functions, being able to recall things, use your memory, and just organize in that prefrontal cortex a little bit more. So the benefits, the health benefits, and this is just a summary of it, the health benefits are overwhelming for both males and the general population. Then we've got the reasons why, and I want to sum it up very briefly because it is important. They've got a whole raft of these poly and monounsaturated fatty acids, and each of the nuts have different combinations of it. So the walnuts have more of the omega-3 fatty acids in them, and the peanuts have more of the oleic acid in them. So that's why it's great to mix and match. They all have their own individual benefits. High in protein, great source of fiber. Often I find one of the biggest shortfalls in the Western diet, and something so simple that people could fix, is increase the diet, increase the fiber in the diet. Then you've got your minerals, and each of the nuts have their own specific benefits. Magnesium in most of the nuts, but then you've got selenium in your Brazil nuts and zinc in other nuts out there. So they're like a vitamin tablet. They really are, except they've got more things, more digestible, easier, and so much better for you. They've also got vitamins A and E, the fat-soluble ones, vitamin Bs, particularly folic acid, and other vitamins, by the way, and minerals. I'm just summarizing the ones that show up most in the studies. And they've got a whole group of these polyphenols. And these polyphenols are the things that everyone talks about in green tea and in turmeric and so on. Nuts have their own different combinations of them. And I wanted to highlight one, again, peanuts. Peanuts are one of the best sources of resveratrol. That's the longer living antioxidant polyphenol that you get in red wine that people talk about. Well, you get it more in peanuts, which is why peanuts are so good for you. And then what does that do? Well, it leads to an improvement in gut health. All of those combined lead to improvement in gut health, which is improvement in the gut microbiome. That's the diversity of that gut microbiome I'm always talking about, and that you've seen the other videos on. It decreases inflammatory responses, so it's anti-inflammatory, it's antioxidant, and they both go back and forward, so that causes the gut health to be better, and the gut decreases the oxidation or increases antioxidants and anti-inflammatory. It's a win-win situation. And that happens every time you have a combination of nuts. How simple is that? My message is, you'll walk around and you've got a handful of nuts. If you're hungry anytime, don't head for the bread, don't head for the toast, don't head for the little snack, head for the bread, head for the nuts. When your kids come home from school, have some pistachios out there. Have a mix of things that are really nutrient dense. That one of the biggest problems, and it's not highlighted in our diet today, isn't just the calories we're getting, it's the lack of nutrients. And when you see the demise of all of these, this is a superfood. These are superfoods, they're cost effective, easy, taste nice, and they're so convenient. Eat more nuts. Check out all the videos I've got, subscribe, and share this with all your friends.